Good afternoon and welcome to the latest episode of Tom Talk Facebook Live. The Giants have their new head coach and are going to the Super Bowl next year edition. I want to do a Tom Talk shout out to the Town of Newton Homelessness Task Force. The HTF is a collaboration of the town, county, state, and numerous nonprofits that are at the vanguard of homeless support services. They work together to find compassionate and timely solutions to help individuals not just survive but thrive. Do you want to learn more about the collaboration going on and perhaps find a way to support our efforts? If so, please reach out to Barry Dreger at 973-383-3521, extension 228. Events coming up. St. Patrick's Day Parade is Saturday, March 7th at 11 a.m. Get your Irish on. In the last episode of Tom Talk Live, we had Helen Humbert, or as we say in French, Helen Humbert, the land use administrator and zoning officer for the town of Newton. Today we continue our flagrant attempt for high ratings, social media influence, and free tickets to the world's most famous arena by speaking with the consultant who is my point person on the Newton Homelessness Task Force. A man who knows the difference between the Brandon Wheat Kings, Orlando Solar Bears, and Columbus Cottonmouths. Standing 6 feet, weighing in at 204 pounds. I don't think that's accurate. He shoots left even when he shoots straight. The polar bear from Winnipeg, Barry the Dragon Dreger. Great to have you on our program today, Barry.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the audience we have in the studio today. So
this will be a great hour program today. Tell us, exactly what do you do for a living?
If my wife was asking, she'd be asking the same question. So I currently occupy space in Newton as the special advisor to the town dealing with the homeless task force here. Locally, we started at the end of 2025 and currently in the middle of a sprint to house the unhoused community and underserved community here in town.
Now, when did you start this position and what did you do prior to coming to Newton?
Yeah, again, we started in late, around October we started, and like I said, we put together a team and a task force through the Department of Community Affairs help and Tom's leadership. What was the other question? What did you do
prior to it? You know, you had a life before Newton, I think.
Yeah. So my history or my youth history is I played professional sports. I was fortunate enough to live my dream and play professional hockey. I retired in 2003. At the end of my career in 2003, I went into mentorship and coaching and player development. I coached for many years in LA at the Junior Kings program. I've coached at the collegiate level, pro hockey level, and currently involved in a oratory prep varsity men's team who have been off to a great season so far and been an exciting new venture that we've been working on.
Okay. How did your upbringing impact the choices you made with your education and career?
Well, so I grew up in Winnipeg, Canada, and so I grew up in an environment where my father was very blue collar. He worked construction his whole life. He grew up on a farm and transitioned through the farming and then went into the construction business and operated as a machine operator and then graduated through his experience as a mechanic and took over their mechanic role. So I grew up as the youngest of four boys. And that generation of working hard and showing up to work every day was a priority and a commitment. So I think that the lessons that I learned growing up through the education of family influences, having to go to work every day, work hard, and show up every day and do your job, because there was always 2 or 3 people lined up behind us. And from an educational standpoint, that was really the foundational component of the success that I experienced both athletically and academically.
If you could go back in time and give advice to the younger version of yourself, little baby Barry, what advice would you give and why?
I would say that I wish I was a much better student. If I would have focused as much on the academic component of my childhood years and my academic windows, I think I would have been a much better student. I think it would have opened up a lot of different doors and opportunities. If I put as much effort into academics as athletics, who knows where I would have been. Maybe even sitting in your seat today.
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be a long hour, Barry. This is really, no. So far, so good.
Yeah, good.
And did you actually prep?
No,
I mean,
not
I
really.
see notes.
Not really.
Oh.
No, this is just my notes from work today.
Okay, I don't know about that. What do you consider to be your greatest life or career achievement?
That's a great question. I think that at the end of the day, I think the privilege and the honor or God-given gift that to have a family and have children is your greatest accomplishment, your greatest gift. If you're fortunate enough to navigate and make few mistakes, they turn out to be good human beings and productive citizens. So we're still working on the productive component of my children, but I think it's the greatest accomplishment just from a standpoint of, it's God's greatest gift, I think.
If I could give you a do-over, what's the one project, life decision, or choice you made that you would do over and why?
Yeah, I think this runs through my head quite often as an athletic background in my hockey career. I don't even know what year it was, but I signed with the Detroit Red Wings in the National Hockey League, and I was presented with 3 different contracts at that time. It was the year that the following year the Atlanta Thrashers were coming into existence. And the new general manager of the Thrashers was Don Waddell. And I thought instead of taking a long-term contract with the Red Wings organization, I thought I would take a 1-year deal. That way Mr. Waddell would be able to sign me. It would be easier. It turned out I wish I would have signed a 3-year contract where I would have been more valuable as an asset to be potentially picked up by the Thrashers. So it was a business decision that I wish I would have made differently.
What was the most challenging experience you went through in your life, and how did you persevere?
Well, another great question. I think that, not to get too deep into the spiritual world, I think we live in a broken world in a lot of aspects. So I think on a daily basis and a weekly basis and yearly basis, we deal with life challenges. And my perspective has certainly changed on all of those things. I've had some pitfalls. I've had divorce, and I've had career ending and different things. And I now look at it so much more so of those are building blocks and opportunities to grow and develop as an individual. So, again, as I reflect back now, they're all experiences that make me who I am today and allow me to, have the ability to connect and deal with, even the position I'm in today, communicate with people and those experiences are valuable for me.
When one door closes, another one opens.
So, yeah, that's what we say, right?
All right, let's talk organization. Mm-hmm. Tell our viewers what a typical day is like for you working on the homelessness task force here in town.
Well, my boss calls me at 6:30 every morning. No, he doesn't. Listen, I'm very fortunate to be working here in Newton on the task force. I have some flexibility and of coming and going to accommodate what schedule is. If we're doing outreach in the community, whether I'm talking to nonprofits that we're dealing with as Samaritan Inn or Family Promises or Sioux Falls, we're in conversations on a daily basis and trying to problem solve, some of the clientele's circumstances or issues that they're dealing with as far as gathering documents and stuff like that. So we're trying to overcome barriers all the time. And so it takes a village to overcome some of these challenges that we find them in. So dealing with phone calls, dealing with emails is a primary resource. The other component here in Newton and Sussex County, we're finding that there's a great need for a shelter system, a code blue system. So spending a lot of time reaching out not only to faith-based communities but other entities, business owners in the area to try and find a partner or someone that could help us build or provide a shelter service that would, eliminate or accelerate some of the transitions from being homeless or being underserved to being maybe more self-sufficient and, re-enter back into life and being productive people. Not that they're not productive, but just give them some more opportunity to have success and feel part of the community and move forward. And, it's a humbling experience, to be honest with you. It's every person on the street right now has a story, and so it's when you start to build relationships and start talking to these people, there's the human side of it for sure.
Let's talk about that. So everybody thinks, when this kind of came to the forefront last summer, there's this misconception that everybody on the green was homeless, and they're all kind of part of this homogeneous ecosystem. As you've done your work with Sergeant Post and others, you probably come to realize the client base is very different, and everybody has a different story. So talk a little bit about that to the viewers so that they understand there's a lot that goes into the one-on-one conversations about how people wind up in a challenging situation.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. I think the reality of it is everyone that's on the street is someone's son or daughter. Mother, maybe it's a mother or a father or a grandparent. One of the biggest challenges that we face is that there's generational families out there. We have families in this situation now that they're having children, and so they're susceptible to it. So again, the humanistic part of it is this is not far removed from anyone's life. It affected my own personal life with my family and my brother. Like he had his stepchildren that went through some issues, and they found themselves unhoused. It was out of necessity to save their lives, so they had to give a little hard love. And fortunately, it worked out. She came back, and they're bigger and faster and stronger, and she has a family now. As it relates to the current people, you're one business deal away from moving your money in on an investment. One of the individuals I worked with moved in on an investment. He was a big part of a venture capital opportunity, moved it in, put himself right to the max, simultaneously with this business being the owner, the guy that was running it was not an honest person, took the money. He was left without any money at the same time his mother passed away. And when parents pass away, sometimes the children find themselves into squabbles. And here's a very intelligent, well-educated man with no resources, no money, and the only support group we had, one is passed and deceased, and the other one is like, I don't want anything to do with you. So they found themselves in a circumstance that nobody wants to be in, and it's unfortunate. But over time they find the ability with strength and with help and support to find stabilization with housing, and they move forward. So. The other side of it is sometimes you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you find yourself, doing something that you shouldn't do, and you get released out to the community from, a short-term stay in prison or something like that. Your family may or may not be there. So those individuals sometimes find themselves out on the street. And then the last part of it is the unfortunate side of the unhoused issue is we got such a high cost of living is so high now, and to make it each day, sometimes we have to make choices, and sometimes we have to put food in our bodies, and we can't afford to stay somewhere, so we're living out of our cars, we're living in different scenarios. So it's a tragic situation, something that we need to address, of course, moving forward, but it's unfortunate. And then, the obvious story of the veteran coming back that isn't being supported the way they need to be supported, whether it's by choice, or they just can't acclimate back into the community. So these are all unique situations to us all. We wish that nobody had to go through it, but unfortunately, like I said, we live in a broken world, and the town of Newton's doing a good job, I think, of trying to support and stabilize this community and give them help.
Talk to the audience about the work you've done in Newark, right? Because this isn't your first rodeo as it relates to the challenges that some populations experience. So talk to them a little bit about maybe similarities or differences, or what it's like working in the inner city versus, the county seat of Sussex County, similarities, differences, etc.
Yeah, I would share, obviously, population's a big differentiator between the town of Newton and Newark. You look at the volume of unhoused individuals that are congregating in Newark are a lot larger than what we have here. And I guess relative to our community and the size of the community, 20 people on our green and 150 in Newark or more, it doesn't represent the same. So at the end of the day, ours is very visible, being at the green or being in that area. So in Newark, they have a little bit more ability to try and avoid being seen or trying to be out of the sight. But at the end of the day, the systemic issues or problems that we're experiencing, that these individuals here are experiencing, and the ones that are down in Newark they're very similar. They're just very tragic and unfortunate stories where they just fall out of favor, or life has become too hard for them in some cases. So the story is the same. I think that Newton, we certainly have a really we have a large population of nonprofits that are supporting and helping these individuals, work through and find stability. I'm not sure that totally happens as well down in Newark, but again, there's a lot of people out there working hard to try and solve the problem in both places.
How does your experience being involved at church and trauma groups impact the work you do with the underhoused or homeless population? Because the population, right, they're dealing with these challenges, but do they stem from generational trauma? And talk a little bit about that to the audience.
Yeah. So the unique thing, it's a great question, and thank you for reminding me. So through my church, I attend Mendham Hills Community Church. My wife and I are involved in a program there called Trauma Reboot. So we take people through a 12-week course dealing with their trauma. It's faith-based, but it's not faith-led. And so we've done that there for 4 years. As we went through some of our own personal experience, we found it very valuable in helping solve what we call soul wounds. And so what happened is I had a member of from our church who's been doing community service work down there and feeding the hungry down there said, hey, do you think we could take Trauma Reboot down into the YMCA and start working with some of the unhoused individuals down there? So we've done 3 classes in the last year and a half, and what's been really valuable about it is that drug and alcohol abuse is a solution to a problem, right? Pornography addiction or self-harming is a solution to a past experience in your life. And so when we get down into the communities and we start having these faith-based conversations and a program that leads us through the process, it starts to shift focus from maybe an addiction to, hey, what's the problem? Where did it originate from? And ultimately to say that wasn't your fault. And so we have the ability through faith in God and our trust is that we start healing, we start solving these soul wounds. And we're finding some really good success because in community, we find strength. And when you suffer some trauma, you usually isolate yourself and you don't engage in people and you feel shame and you feel regret and you feel all these feelings. And the community really helps to help people grow, develop, and heal. And it's kind of like, we think that it's like the foundational beginning of people to transition back into a positive, just trying to get back to ground zero and start to move forward in the healing process. Because, like, again, we live in a broken world, and some bad things have happened to people that should never have happened. But at the end of the day, it wasn't their fault.
Where do you see things going in the service of the unhoused or the homeless 1 to 5 years from now? Not just Newton statewide. Like what have you seen, quote, that works or makes sense, and where do you see nonprofits or government, private sector, like what makes sense on the path going forward to actually get results for this?
Yeah, I certainly think there's a couple phases of it. We're having conversations today. An individual that's the longer they're on the street, the harder it is to get them off the street. So the first issue is we have some chronically unhoused individuals that have, deep-rooted challenges, whether it's drug addictions, alcoholism, mental health issues, or just willingness to live on the street if they don't trust anymore. So those people, we have a lot of legwork and a lot of heavy lifting to do with them. It's a challenge, 100%. What we're working at, we're trying to build trust and relationships with them, and also, the mental health institutions and moving people into centers is a challenge. So we probably need to be able to find mental health supports for some of those individuals sooner than later. And then as it relates to directly today, we have some people that are living in their normal life today, but tomorrow may be forced out. And the sooner we can get to them, the better it is. Because, quite frankly, and I've been talking to people about it, living unhoused in what doesn't matter what community, whether you're in California, you're in Florida, or you're in Newton or Newark, you're in a war zone. And we send people, young men and women, off to war, and they come back with, unfortunate injuries that, sustained through combat. These individuals that are living on the street today are in a war zone. They literally are fighting for their life every day, and instead of losing potentially an arm or a leg, they're losing their documentation, they're losing their driver's license, they're losing their bank card, they're losing their social security, they're losing their identity. And if we don't get to them sooner, they get further along in the process. So, so I don't think it's something that's getting easier. I think when cost of living goes up and incomes don't mirror it or match it, we're going to find more families doing it. And, so it's a challenge that's ahead of us, but I don't think that I think it's not irresponsible, but irresponsible if we just turn our heads from it and not address it. If we were proactive, I certainly think we would minimize people's time on the street.
Yeah, and I think the identity crisis that you speak of leads to a dignity crisis, right? You strip away at their identity, they start to feel less human, less relevant, less important to a family or a society, and then their dignity starts to evaporate, and then that's when they lose hope, right? And then you're not just dealing with homelessness, you're dealing with hopelessness too at the same time. So,
well, if you look at it from this standpoint, the people that are supposed to love you and care for you the most, sometimes, like my brother, they had to make a hard decision and say, listen, we can't continue to support your habits. Right. And their story turned out it was a miracle. But from their viewpoint, my parents, my mom, my dad, my grandparents, my siblings walked away from me. So those are the people we cling to. Those are the people we want to rely on. And now all of a sudden they're in a tough spot, and they're like, not even my family wants me. So you start, degradation of your self-worth and value certainly falls apart for sure.
Right. So. All right, so you've been working for the town for several months. You have your own little fan club, it seems. What do you think makes the town a great place to work? What do you like about being here in Newton?
Well, you already summed it up. Obviously, the people. I think that the people, what I've found to be true from the day I walked through the doors to today is the people care. What I've found is that if there's an issue that's going on, we're trying to problem solve and work through it. So it's the people. The people care about this town. The people care about the people here, and it's such a neat little community. I don't have big words, but it's just a neat. I walk into the center the first day, and there's a picture from 1918 something, and I'm just like, small town country. It's just awesome. That side of it's awesome. It's a great community.
Are there people in real life or social media who you follow and admire? Who inspires you? Who inspires Barry to achieve excellence every day?
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm struggling in this area today because I think that social media, and I think that the news, I think that the political strife, all of the components of what's going on around us is very unpredictable. So finding truth in whatever media, whatever source that you have, it's hard to validate to be true. So, right now I'm clinging to, not to be cliche, but I'm clinging to my faith that I have in God, and knowing that the truth is I got to rely on my family and the people that I care about and love the most, and hopefully, our needs together is what influences me on my next decisions, the next opportunity. And so, it's hard to right now put faith in anybody, because one day they're a superstar and the next day they're front page for doing something that's less becoming of them.
Understood. All right, let's do some fun questions. I don't know if you're prepared for these. If aliens landed in front of you, and we know they're real, in exchange for anything you desired, offered you any position on their planet, what would you want and why?
Without question.
Yeah.
100%.
Right.
Planet manager.
And like
town manager.
Yeah.
But planet manager.
Wow.
Yeah, like you would have the keys to the whole town.
Wow.
The whole planet.
Whole planet.
Yeah, and you get to know all the secrets and
Now,
all of the opportunities.
Now, is that because your ego is that big, or you want to just serve others? Like, is it ego or is it service? Which is it?
No, I would like to do it because I see a model of an individual here that's spectacular.
Wow. In this town or a different town?
No, this town. This town.
Why are you laughing? If you had to be shipwrecked on an island, but all your human needs were all taken care of, what 2 items would you want to have with you and why?
That's a tough one. I would say, I'm going to say, I would take my Bible because I think that all truths and things are, those are all valuable things.
That's one.
And then, words are, the question is ambiguous a little bit. So I would like to take a team of people. Team of people.
God. So, all right, who's the team, Barry?
Well,
is this a hockey analogy, Barry?
No. I'd like to take I would like to take a combat person that can, navigate through combat. I would like to have someone that knows a little bit about finance. I like to take a team of people, and of course, part of that people would be family and friends.
Okay, yeah. Well, you just that's more than 2. I mean, you have a wife.
Yeah.
How many kids do you have, Barry?
Great question. So, we have 8 children between the 2 of us. So the oldest is going to be 28, and our youngest, who's is going to be 8 this year. Are
they watching this, or you're going to let them watch this tonight? Obviously, because the next question would be, out of the 8, you can only take 2. Which 2 would you bring?
My wife?
No, the kids. You can only bring 2 of the 8. You can't answer that.
How do you do that? How do you put me in that spot?
I just did. What is your favorite place to grab a bite to eat or relax in? Newton, the county? Like, what's your jam? What are you mowing into for that 6-foot frame?
So locally, I've spent some time at the Penny Rose Cafe.
Okay.
So I've enjoyed that gluten-free food over there. Coffee's spectacular.
Right.
And I've also spent a little bit of time at the Copper Kettle. I enjoy the soup and the sandwiches over there. But there's the Spring Diner.
Right.
Curd and Cleaver are on my list, of course.
Okay.
Farmer's Daughter. And of course, O'Reilly's Pub. You got to end up at O'Reilly's Pub. So some of those are still on my hit list. But, ultimately, I'd love to come down and spend some time at your theater here in town and do a nice dinner somewhere.
Okay.
What's that little place right next to the theater?
You have the pizzeria next to the
No,
theater.
not that one.
How about the Indian restaurant? Indian Masala.
I have that on my list.
Very good.
I love Indian food.
Right.
100%.
Great choice.
Yeah.
All right, when you're not at work.
Yeah, what do you do?
How are you unwinding? What are the hobbies? You taping hockey games and analyzing power plays? Like, what are you doing? You watching Netflix? Football?
I'm not a really big TV guy, but I do spend a little bit of TV time, but just kind of relaxing.
Skiing? Are you ice skating to keep the legs fresh? Like, what are you doing?
No, I'm just trying I'm trying to get back into health. I'm trying to get healthy. I unfortunately stepped on the scale the other day, and my purchasing of exercising, like instead of most people exercise, I just buy an extra size.
No,
so it doesn't look like I've gained. So, but I'm trying to get back into shape.
All right. So, was the 204 not accurate?
No, not close.
Okay.
No. I resurrected my scale literally yesterday.
Yeah. And got the dust off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd that work out?
Not well.
Okay. Do you have any hidden talents or skills that might surprise our audience? Do you sing? You play piano? You juggle?
No. I don't do anything.
You do dioramas? You memorize the Guinness Book of World Records?
Nope.
You make a mean pork loin? Something like
nope.
No.
I have no skills that way. Okay. I'll share what I've actually started to get into. It's not a skill. It's just the ability to sit for a period of time and put a Lego thing together.
Okay.
Lego's blowing me away.
You could go
as a kid, I didn't like Lego, and because you had to be creative.
You can do whole cities. Do you ever do the Newton Lego set?
No, we have one.
Yeah, we have one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cool.
So 2 Christmases ago, we did the Titanic, which I did probably 2/3 of it.
Wow.
And then we just built Paris, a little skyline of Paris the other day. So
cool.
I'm learning a new skill to be patient and build Lego.
Yeah. Patience is tough for you, isn't it?
Yeah. Staying focused for a long time.
No, that's All right. Is there a favorite movie, series, or television show you enjoy?
Without doubt, Star Wars original trilogy. Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
I mean, yeah. How do you disagree with that? Like, you know, some people.
So, I did put a list because it's a typical question that I would come across.
Right.
Listen, I love all different things, but for some reason, Brad Pitt's in a bunch of them. River Runs Through It, Legends of the Fall, Sweet Home Alabama, Failure to Launch, and of course,
Ocean's 11.
no, Slapshot. How do you not like Slapshot? So, and then
You should interview the Hanson brothers on this program, right?
I actually played for one of the Hanson brothers.
Yeah, you kind of look like them. You kind of look like them.
I just got my hair cut, so that's not true.
Didn't work. All right. Is there something on your bucket list you're still hoping to check off?
Yeah, if I had one dream that hasn't been fulfilled that I think is within my realm at some point is if you could be associated with winning a Stanley Cup, that would be an incredible honor. Obviously, the Holy Grail is the oldest and longest trophy out there. It's the hardest one to get, so they say. And so Stanley Cup, and then we can have a party in Newton
And a drink out of the
with
cup.
the cup. What do we think?
Come on.
Yeah, let's do that.
Kimberly has touched the Holy Grail.
Me too. I have pictures with it. So my time in Detroit, we literally had the Stanley Cup in my stall and hung out with it. But I don't think I touched it per the curse.
Yeah, you're not
So
supposed
I don't think I touched it. I can't remember.
Wow. Legend.
Touched it? You can't win it.
Are you a dog or a cat person?
Neither. Though we have two dogs. We
You
have
hate your dogs?
we have two dogs.
Yeah.
We have a turtle.
Okay.
We had a hamster. We had chickens. We had a dragon lizard. And to be honest with you, I'm not a pet person. I didn't grow up with pets. And so, I know, we have a lot of pets. So, I'm not a pet person.
Oh.
But
I didn't know that.
we have a lot of pet lovers in this room. I know we have cat lovers, right? Oh, everyone has cat, dogs.
I love both. So, do they let you have chickens in the town you live in?
We don't abide by. Yeah, we abide by the rules. Yeah, of course we can. Of course we can. Yeah.
Reach out to the zoning officer. Favorite cartoon?
Oh, there's so many of it. But I do have a tattoo of Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunners, so I'd have to go with Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner.
You do not want to see them.
You do not want to see
You
them.
do not. No, Michelle, no. Favorite food?
All foods.
Friday night, you and the missus.
Yeah.
You know, hey, hun, let's get takeout from Sorrento's or whatever, wherever you people go. Like, oh, let's go to the.
Yeah, I would say.
Black Horse Tavern.
Yeah.
What are you getting?
Fresco, Mexican in Chester. Yeah, phenomenal. We'll StubHub it, not StubHub it. Uber,
Grubhub,
yeah.
DoorDash,
Phenomenal.
or the now
Yeah.
Wonder.com.
Yeah, there's
according to our
really there's so many options
Right.
and opportunities
Right.
out there. How do you pick one?
How do you pick one? That's why the scale's unforgiving.
You
for
can't.
right now.
You can't.
Favorite movie?
We already did that.
No. Give
Favorite
me
movie.
You're watching TV. Follow me. It comes on, and you're like, I know I've seen this 43 times. I can recite every damn line. It doesn't matter. I'm locked in. Godfather, Star Wars, Few Good Men. What's the movie?
Yeah, I could watch it a million times. I would not remember any of it anyway, so that's not a good reference.
I'm killing my questions. All right, come on.
I'm not killing.
Favorite movie? Pick one.
I'm gonna go Legends of the Fall.
Okay.
Legends. Of the
It's
Fall.
gonna be so hard.
It isn't.
Some people with their questions, you know, ChatGPT. All right, favorite superhero?
I don't have one. Batman or Robin.
Favorite sports team? This is a good one.
Yeah, I would say. So I'm cheering for the Toronto Maple. I have so many people that are involved in the National Hockey League at different levels, but right now I would lean to the Detroit Red Wings because I signed a contract with them and they gave me my one chance playing the National Hockey League. But currently, my good friend's the GM. One of my friends who's a GM in the National Hockey League is with Toronto, so I would have to go one B Toronto, one C Winnipeg.
Okay.
You know, so all the above. But if I had to go on the limb and say one team, I would pick Detroit.
Okay. Favorite musical band or act? Who we listening to on
Elevation Workshop. Elevation Workshop.
Okay. All right.
Worship.
No. All right.
All of those people in that thing are super talented.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, last. What do you love about the town of Newton in general? Not just the employees here, but in general. What do you love about the town?
Again, I think it goes back to the people. I think people care about their town. I think it's a tight-knit group of people. Everyone's been friendly to me and welcoming to me. So again, it comes back to the people. And I think that you have good restaurants. I think everyone raves about the theater and the concerts that are down there. So I mean, how do you not have you have a thriving community, a walking community where you can go do dinner, you can have a show, and you can be with friends and family. So I think it's great. And I think the biggest piece of what speaks volumes about Newton is I've met so many people that are generational Newton people, and you can measure how good a town is if your kids leave, go to college, start a career, and when they have a family, they come back to your town. And I think that you have a lot of generational people that are, it could be described as leaving and coming back because the core values of people, and what the community offers. It's a nice community outside in the country, and but it's got everything you won't need. You got Starbucks, you got some fast food restaurants, staple. You got different things that are options here. So I think that's the community. You have everything that you need here, but you have country feel and you have country values and good people.
Awesome. All right, thank you, Barry, for being a good sport and legendary guest on Tom Talk Live. That's a wrap. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram for further updates on Town of Newton events, happenings, and more. Russo out.